So there were some questions about the homework assignment, which is due Wednesday. So let me just give you the overview. You'll be given a function like this one here, f of x equals x squared plus 4x plus 1. And one of the first things we're asked to do is simply just find, for example, f of 1. Now that corresponds to this point right here. What I want to do is, ultimately, what I'm trying to do is find an equation for a line that touches this graph at that point. And we'll call that a tangent line. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find the tangent line, an equation for the tangent line. So there it goes, a line that touches the graph just once. Now, the first thing I need to do, though, is I need to just find the y value. So if I'll be given x. So, for example, I'll be given f of x equals x squared plus 4x plus 1, and they'll say something like at x equals 1. So I need to find y, and I find that just by plugging in. Now, what we're trying to do, so this is 4, 5, 6. So we have this point, 1, 6. Now remember, to find an equation for a line, you need a point, which is this one right here. That's the point. And then you need a slope. And the slope is found by simplifying the difference quotient. In other words, the slope, which we're going to call f prime of x, is found by simplifying this little expression. The limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. That's what we simplify, and that gives us a new function. We start off with f of x. This will give us f prime of x. And what f prime of x does is it gives us the slope, so that we plug in an x and it spits out the slope. So let's go through that here. So I want to simplify the difference quotient. So I've got the limit as h goes to 0, and every place I have an x, I just put an x plus h. Just like this. That's f of x plus h, and then I subtract off f of x. And all that over h, and now it's just algebra. So I go through the algebra here. I've got the limit as h goes to 0 of x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And that right there is this part. See, I just expanded that out. Then I've got plus 4x plus 4h plus 1, and then I subtract off this other. Now, remember, you're subtracting off the entirety of the function, so you put a parentheses around it. You don't want to just say minus x squared plus 4x plus 1, because then you wouldn't have the opposite signs of the terms. In other words, if you don't put the parentheses around it, you won't have this thing happening. The x squareds cancel, the 4x cancels, and the 1's cancel. That's because we subtracted the entirety of the function. Now, once you do that, let's see what you have left. You have the limit as h goes to 0, 2xh plus h squared plus h. And actually, look at this. I made a mistake here. You see this 4x? That should be a 4h right there. So let me make that a 4. See? So I made a mistake. So remember, distributing this 4 through there, that should have been a 4h. Okay, so you really got to be careful. All this over h. Now you've got the limit. So h goes to 0. Factor out your h, because what you're trying to do is get rid of that h on the bottom. And always as you're working, you're being careful. And you notice I caught that mistake there. That's because as I'm working through this, I'm constantly looking. Have I made a mistake? So that's what you have to do. Because if you wait to the end, you have more backtracking to do. So it's good to catch it early. Now we've got the limit as h goes to 0. That just means this h right here will go to 0. And now we have a brand new function. We call it f prime of x. 2x plus 4. This is a machine that if you put in a value for x, it's going to give you the slope of the tangent. It's going to give you the slope of that line that touches the graph exactly one place. So I want it at x equals 1. So here I go. F prime of 1, 2 times 1 plus 4, and that's 6. So you get a slope of 6. Now, it's just a coincidence that this slope is the same as the y value. But anyway, here's what we have. We want to write the equation for the tangent. So remember how that goes. Y equals, here's the slope, times x minus 1 plus 6. Remember, we were writing our equation this way. The slope times x minus x naught plus y naught. And you can see there's our equation. This is the equation for the tangent. Now, the equation for the normal, which is just the perpendicular, is going to be y equals negative 1/6. Remember, it's just the negative reciprocal. So now we have this. We have the tangent and we have the normal. The normal is just perpendicular at that point. Now, one of the things extra I ask you to do is to find the set of parametric equations. So here's the tangent, here's the normal. Now, if we want a set of parametric equations for the tangent, remember it goes like this. You have x equals t plus 1. See? The 1 comes from right there. And then the y is the slope, 6t plus 6. And then for the normal, you have x equals t plus 1 and y equals negative 1/6 t plus 6. Those are the parametrics. Now, that's everything you're asked to do here. You were just asked to find the equation for the tangent and the equation for the normal and the parametric presentation of those. Now, that's for this point 1/6. Now, I want to talk about this point down here, -2, -3. And let's do that for -2, -3, because if you look here and think about the tangent, just ask yourself, what is the slope of that one? Well, that slope is 0. Now, look at this. Remember, let me change colors here. If you find the derivative at -2, let's see what that is. If I plug in 2 times -2 plus 4, look at this. I get a 0 slope. And notice that the point here is -2, -3. So let's just write the equation for the tangent. The equation for the tangent goes like this. Y equals, okay, the slope is 0. 0, x minus a -2, and then plus 3. Oh, minus 3, isn't it? Minus 3. So what we get is y equals -3. And look, that's the equation. 1, 2, 3, -3. That's the equation for that line, -3. Now, think about what the normal would be. The normal is just perpendicular to it, so what is that line? Well, that's x equals -2. See, it doesn't exactly fit our pattern that we've been using, but you can see x equals -2, yeah, that's perpendicular to y equals -3. Now, as far as the parametric goes on these, let's think about this. You have x equals t minus 2, and the y is just simply going to be -3. Y is always -3. There's no t in there. Or you could put the slope there, right there, which is 0, and you still get negative 3. Now, as far as, so that's the tangent. Now, let's think about the normal. The normal is just going to be x equals negative 2. And what is y? Well, y is, what is the slope? It would be t minus 3. So there you have it. This should take you to where you can complete your homework. And you can always text me, and I can add more to this if need be.